trunk, I open up, I sold my soul a good price, out of sight, my whole got talent.
Hi guys and welcome to Tech Tips, and before we begin, hit the subscribe button and the bell icon. Welcome to another episode of Tech News on Tech Tips, and today we have gotten information from WCCF Tech. They've posted this article, and as usual, Hassan Mustafa has posted this article. Thank you so much, Hassan, for the article. And this step from AMD is devastating for Intel, and I mean it. It says AMD EPYC ROM 7nm server processor could feature up to 162 PCIe lanes, and that to generation 4. I mean, I don't know much about Intel's high-end server systems, or processor rather, but providing 162 PCIe Gen 4 lanes is a great move from AMD. I mean, they have come up with great chips in the last 3-4 years, and they have gained a lot of market share. But if we talk about the research and comparison between the two, AMD is far ahead in the research department for CPUs. Now it says AMD EPYC ROM processor based on the 7nm Zen 2 architecture. So that chip would be 7nm architecture, and this would be the EPYC chip. So these are server chips. These are not for gamers or video editors. These are server chips. We do not usually use such chips in our systems. So these are all 7nm chips, and as per the information, it says that AMD will come up with 162 PCIe Gen 4 lanes. And if we talk about Intel's high-end server processors, they've got how much? 40 PCIe Gen 3 lanes, 48 in the top end models. I mean, I'm not really sure if AMD would come up with 162 PCIe Gen 4 lanes, because at the most we have got 48 PCIe lanes. Let's not talk about Gen 3, Gen 4, any other generation. Let's talk about the PCIe lanes. You've only got 48 PCIe lanes in the Xeon 8P, and that is a high-end server chip from Intel. I understand the technology is obsolete and blah blah blah, but then let's accept it. It is about research and development. AMD has done a lot of research. They are now producing chips on 7nm architecture, which is a great thing. Now, because it is EPYC, it would be dual socket, so that would be 14nm in total. Now, for people who do not know what PCIe lanes do, it basically handles the input and output of your computer. So the more the lanes, more input and output devices would be connected with the system without hiccups. Now, if we talk about PCIe lanes devices, it can be graphics cards, a 10 gigabit LAN connector, or any other input device source or output device source which is connected to the PCIe slot by any means. So providing such number of lanes is a great thing. I mean, there are times in some processors from Intel and even from AMD where you do not get the lanes, the PCIe lanes that can sufficiently run 2 graphics cards on Crossfire or SLI and NVMe SSDs at the same time. I mean, it is all about input and output. So any device which either provides input or gives output would not be sufficiently provided if they do not have the number of PCIe lanes required for that device or component. Now, it is one of the key features, and I think it is the main feature for the EPYC processors that are coming from the Zen 2 architecture. But there's another thing that I'd read here. Integrated Server Controller Hub is now a part of the AMD processors. I mean, in old days they had to rely on, it says, low speed third-party controllers. So we were talking about input and output devices. Now if we talk about the server controller hub, it is clearly mentioned that it will control 4 USB 3 ports, platform clock generation, the SM bus ports. We are also talking about the input and output devices. It would control all of that, and every single chip will have a lane specifically for the SCH, which is server controller hub. And honestly, it is a great thing. I mean, when you are doing anything on the computer, be it input output devices such as USB ports, graphics cards, anything related to the system, it is controlled by a server hub. So it says AMD has planned to provide an extra lane per CPU to the SCH to drive NVMe and other essential input-output, but not necessarily high-speed connectivity. So we are not talking about high-speed connectivity, we are just talking about smooth flow of work. Now if there's a specific lane for the SCH, no chip would have to share any resources with any other chip. So that is a great plus point. And as per the information, you can see that AMD would be in a leading position, it says, but then AMD would be at the top. If this is what it is, AMD, I mean, I've said this multiple times, then Intel, you will have to make some changes to your processors, because if you talk about the Xeon CPU lineup, I mean, that is what, 10 nanometers if I'm not wrong, but AMD is already producing chips at 7 nanometer architecture. I'm not asking you to shrink the size of your CPUs, I'm just asking you to come up with something that is nowhere in the roadmap of AMD or any other CPU manufacturing company. If we talk about the Ryzen roadmap, you would have Zen 1, which has already been released probably in 2017, Ryzen 2000 series, then Ryzen 3000, which we are talking right now, and then they also have another series which would be Zen 3. They would launch that in 2020 as per information from AMD. Now what we are talking about is the Zen 2 architecture. It would be 16 cores, 32 threads. I'm not sure if it is correct or not, but yes, there were rumors that it would also have 64 cores and 128 threads. So let's see and hope for the best for AMD. AMD, thumbs up for all the research, all the efforts that you have put in. I'm sure if you come up with this, then AMD, you guys are at the top in the business. Thank you for joining. Take care.